Hello and welcome to Across Louisiana. My name is Steve Sawyer, your host for the show. We've got a great show lined up for you today. Chris Leonard. Chris is the Executive Director for New Orleans Pride. We've also got Mr. Eric Hein. Eric is the Coordinator of Curriculum for the Jefferson Chamber Foundation Academy. And finally, we've got Miss Cathy Washington. Cathy is the Executive Vice President for the Urban League of Greater New Orleans. We've got a great show lined up for you. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome to Across Louisiana. My name is Steve Sawyer, your host for the show. We've got a great show lined up for you today and appreciate you being a part of the show. We're going to start with Chris Leonard. Chris is the Executive Director for New Orleans Pride. Chris, thank you so much for taking time to be on the show. We appreciate it. I believe this is your first time on the show.
It is.
Chris, do me a favor. Tell us a little bit about the organization, sort of background, some of the programs you're involved in.
Well, the New Orleans Pride organization, we actually just took it over in 2011. So this is our third year with the festival. And we want to do more than just have a gay pride event. We want to celebrate the diversity that is in New Orleans, to celebrate the gay, straight, every walk of life. So that's our main purpose, is to do family-friendly events that are acceptable to everyone.
I was reading some of the background of the organization, and you do a lot with anti-bullying and suicide prevention. Talk a little bit about that.
Right. We're kicking off our, officially kicking off our program June 14th with the I'm Bigger campaign. And the problem here in New Orleans is there's not really an outlet for 14 to 24-year-olds to go to, especially the LGBT community, for some place to be mentored and stuff, you know, for bullying.
Right.
So what we're going to do is the program basically is 3 phases. The first phase of the program is awareness. So on June 14th, we're having our I'm Bigger Than Bullying awareness event. It's a photo shoot that we're doing. And the first 100 people get a t-shirt that says I'm bigger than bullying, things like that. Then phase 2 of the organization, of the campaign, is going to be going into the school systems with seminars and stuff to educate on anti-bullying and stuff. One of the big problems is 3.2 million students are bullied each year, and only 1 in 4 teachers do something about it.
Yeah.
So part of our goal is to educate the teachers too on the signs of bullying, to stop it.
Well, and that's, I mean, that's a good point, because I don't think teachers know exactly what they can and can't do, and I mean, I hate to say this, I don't think a lot of the teachers know what to even look for in something like that.
Right. Yeah, so that's one of our big things, is to educate everyone. And then the third phase that we're actually going to be rolling out is a web portal. And that web portal is going to be for anyone, but mainly for 14 to 24-year-olds that can log in, and there'll be mentors and people like that on there to chat with them and talk to them and help them through whatever situation they're going through.
How hard is it if you've got nowhere to go, nowhere to turn, no one to talk to? I mean, what do? It's the worst case scenario.
Right.
Your website is prideneworleans.com. All information about the organization can be found on the website. Is it also a site that gives, I mean, if I'm having a crisis and I want to talk to somebody, would it give me a number to call for that as well?
We do have suicide hotlines on the website.
Okay.
So.
And one of your core programs is, I mean, again, your anti-bullying and suicide prevention. I think that's phenomenal that you guys get into talking, because anti-bullying, you hear and read so much about that. I mean, it's like probably the biggest topic these days, and then I think we've probably had 4 or 5 groups on the show that try to work with anti-bullying, and a lot of it is in grade schools like that. So congratulations for you guys' focus on that. Really good job in doing that. So again, the website is prideneworleans.com. All the information about New Orleans Pride can be found on the website. Chris, thank you so much for taking time for being on the show. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Best of success as you guys go along. Stay with us. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Across Louisiana. Great show lined up for you today, and I want to thank you for being a part of this show. Happy to have Eric Hein. Eric is the coordinator of curriculum at the Jefferson Chamber Foundation Academy. Eric, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
First time we've had anybody, we have people on from the Jefferson Chamber all the time. The first time we've had anybody on from the Academy. So with that, let's talk a little bit about the mission of the Academy, kind of some core programs and things like that.
Sure. Jefferson Chamber Foundation Academy was founded in 2010 with the explicit mission of serving those students who are underage and overcredited or have other obstacles to their educational pathway that might be impeding them from actually achieving the high school diploma. So through the Jefferson Chamber Foundation, which is the nonprofit branch of the Jefferson Chamber of Commerce, they received a grant called the Multiple Education Pathways Blueprint, which was funded by the Department of Labor. And what that did is set up a lot of research around education in Jefferson Parish. And from that, the Jefferson Chamber Foundation decided to found a school.
Okay.
As a way of kind of alleviating some of the economic disparity issues that are associated with high school dropouts.
So how do you enroll into the Academy? Is there a certain area you have to live in Jefferson Parish, or what are the requirements for that?
Well, so that's a great question. We have now two schools, one on the East Bank campus, that's 3330 Causeway Boulevard on UNO's building. That's a Type 2 charter. So what that means is that we can take students from all over the state. We have one at 475 Manhattan Boulevard on the West Bank, right next to the school board building, and that's a Type 1 charter, and that only accepts students from Jefferson Parish.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Is there a Type 3, or is it just Type 1 and Type 2?
It's just the Type 1 and Type 2 right now.
So Type 1, you can just take 2 students from Jefferson Parish.
Right.
Type 2, which is the school that's on the East Bank, can take students from throughout the state.
Throughout the state. So we have students from Orleans Parish, students who come from St. Charles. So we're all over, really.
I didn't know that. That's good stuff. No. So your website is jeffersonchamberfoundationacademy.org.
Yes, sir.
All information on the Academy can be found on the website.
All
as far
information.
As enrollment and.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually have a rolling admissions process. So right now we're accepting applications for students to be admitted starting next July, although we have another admissions process that starts in June. And we'll basically be taking students all the way up through next February, with the exception of December.
So as we speak on this program, school is out for you
School
guys?
is actually in session year-round. So we have a year-round school. Our longest break is usually 10 days at Christmas. So we go straight through the summer. We have a 3-hour school day. And basically what that allows for is those students that have some sort of boundary that keeps them from achieving their educational goals in a traditional setting, we have a more flexible time.
Yeah.
We go to school from 9 to 12:30 on the West Bank campus and from 9 to 12:45 on the East Bank campus, with the additional option of banking before and after school at both of those locations.
So how would the Academy differ, would you say, from a regular school, so to speak?
We are very different from a traditional school. We offer an online curriculum. So the curriculum provider that we use is called Edgenuity, and basically it allows students to access material at their own pace and in their own way, and it meets them where they are. So in any given classroom, for instance, if you were to go to a traditional high school, you would see one teacher leading a group of 30 students in that class. At JCFA, we have roughly 20 students per classroom, sometimes a little bit less. There's a teacher in a classroom, a certified teacher, and a tutor in the classroom as well. So there's a really small teacher-to-student ratio.
Which is great.
Which is really wonderful. And students that are in English class could range from 8th to 12th grade English. So in first period, I could have students who are in 8th grade. I could also have a student who's in 12th grade about to graduate.
So you don't have like a first grade, second grade progression like that.
Correct. And the reason that is because some students come to us with certain credits that they need in order to graduate, and they may not necessarily fit with that same kind of grade level. So 10th grade English may not be something that they need, but they might need a 12th grade English but still need to take a freshman math.
Yeah.
So we try and meet the student where they are, and students are able to be enrolled in 3 courses at once.
And the starting grade would be?
We accept a very limited number of students in 8th grade, and then we accept students from 9th through 12th grade.
Okay.
And anyone between the ages of 15 and 22 is eligible to apply for enrollment.
And again, I just wanted, just so we can clarify, on the East Bank, it's a Type 1 school, meaning you can accept students from all over the state.
East Bank is Type 2. And
Type 2.
So East Bank, anyone from all over the state can apply.
Okay.
You don't have to live in Jefferson Parish.
Okay.
On the West Bank, you have to live in Jefferson Parish in order to apply.
East Bank or West Bank, doesn't really matter.
Right, East or West. So we have a few students on the West Bank who actually live on the East Bank.
I'm slow, but I'm catching on.
Hey, it's a lot of information.
Eric, thank you so much for being on the show. Again, the website is jeffersonchamberfoundationacademy.org. Just some great information on that website about curriculum, how to get into the school. I find it fascinating that you guys are year-round. I didn't know that. I've learned already so much about the school system today. Thank you so much for being on the show. Greatly
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
Please come back.
Absolutely, anytime you guys have me.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Across Louisiana. Again, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. Our final guest is Miss Cathy Washington. Cathy is the Executive Vice President for the Urban League of Greater New Orleans. Cathy, thank you so much for taking time to be on the show. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me here.
We met with Erica about 3 weeks ago at Cox, and I got to tell you, I was just blown away with all of the programs that the Greater Urban League is involved in. I had no idea that you guys were involved in that many programs and the caliber and the quality. So if you would, I'd like for you to just take a little bit of time, talk about the mission of the Urban League, kind of some of your programs you're involved in, and some of the success stories that you had.
Okay. So, Steve, we have been operating here, the Urban League, in the New Orleans community for over 75 years.
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal. We are one of 98 affiliates of the National Urban League, which is located in New York City. And our mission has remained unchanged since 1938 when we started here. And it is essentially to assist African Americans and other communities and groups who are seeking equity to secure economic self-reliance, parity, and civil rights. And we implement our mission through programs in workforce and community development, education and youth development, and public policy and advocacy. So our programs really run the gamut of the life cycle, beginning with those early learners in our Head Start program, where we serve students, about 60 students who are ages 0 to 5, and we work with them on progress toward those early development domains, you know, working with them, checking their gross motor skills, helping to develop their cognitive skills, social development skills, and then just on those basic fundamentals like the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s, getting them ready for success and on track for kindergarten. And we really focus heavily in our Head Start program on literacy initiatives. The research shows that if you can create a love of reading and a love for learning early on in life, that you'll mitigate a lot of issues that develop socially and academically later on in life. So we work with the entire family. We bring them in to read books in a family learning style over a nice meal, and we bring the sisters and brothers in, and we bring in a number of different readers in from the community to make it interesting. And we deal with a lot of cultural integration within those reading narratives, so children can understand things that they do in their everyday kitchen, and use all those examples to hone in on the reading. And we also teach the parents how to read the books.
Which is critical.
And we send children home with books to help develop their home libraries. So lots of interesting work that we're doing there around literacy, trying to break that cycle of intergenerational illiteracy here in our community.
Cathy, your website is urbanleagueneworleans.org.
That's correct.
Would it be a fair statement to say in the African American community, and I guess a lot of it's tied to the fact that you've been here for so long, is Urban League kind of a go-to organization that a lot of folks with questions about anything can kind of turn to the Urban League for help and support? And just, I mean, again, you're just such a well-known organization. If I was looking for a place to turn to for any sort of guidance, I mean, I would think a lot of people might turn to the Urban League.
Absolutely, they certainly do. And we provide, as and serve as a referral source.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting
Right,
to.
but we certainly do. But our programs are, portfolio is pretty extensive in and
Yes.
of itself, so they can find a lot of what they're looking for in terms of assistance to small businesses, youth development programs, and workforce development supports right there under our own umbrella.
And then all that's found on the website,
All of that is
information.
on our website, as well as information regarding our Parent Information Center.
And let's talk real quick before we run out of time. You have the annual gala coming up on June 21st. That's always a big show.
Oh yes, that is always an extremely big show. We are excited that we have a very worthy honoree this year, Mr. Warner Williams, who is the retired Vice President of Chevron's Gulf of Mexico business unit. And Warner is, again, such a worthy honoree. He has created a legacy in this community around mentoring individuals and professionals who are in the oil and gas sector, and around the supports that he's provided for so many community organizations like NORD and the Ballet, and certainly the Urban League and others to help develop our capacity to sustain into the future.
And information on the gala can be found on the website as far as ticket information.
We still have tickets and tables available. We have some great entertainment lined up. Stephanie, Jordan, and Teresa B. So it's going to be a fun night. We always say it's a party with a purpose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What annual will this be? Do you know?
Roughly maybe the 38th or something like
lot.
that. Yeah, I can't keep up.
Kathy,
with
we're about to run out of
it
time. Thank
anymore.
you so much for taking
thank
time
you.
to come in and be a part of the program today. We greatly appreciate it. You've been watching Across Louisiana. My name is Steve Sawyer. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. We'll see you next time.